We're going to ask a list of questions to the panel first, and then about 10 or 15 minutes left, we'll ask the audience for some questions. So I'm just going to get it going. First question, why did you come to college? And this is open for anyone.
Alright, well, first off, sorry, my name is Tristan Maxey, originally from Des Moines, Iowa, senior, business management major. And the reason I came to college is because my dad either gave it to me like this: you can either go to the military, get a job, or go to college. Honestly, I wasn't ready to hit the workforce, and I wanted to not go fighting nobody's war, so what I looked at is I better go get this college education. Also, what I want to be in life is a NFL general manager, and what I've learned is what I wanted to be. I actually need that college education, and college has really served me well. I think the best thing that college has equipped me with is a way to think, and think very critically, and think at a rapid pace.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah. The reason why I came to college is probably a different path than Tristan. I came to actually get out of the streets. I had a kind of a colored past, so one of the things I wanted to do was to get away from the lifestyle I was living when I was younger in life. So I had a daughter at the age of 19, so one of the things I wanted to do was possibly provide a better life for her. So I was working a dead-end job, and I wanted to kind of get out that life. So I applied to UNI, and great things came from it.
All right, respect that. Anyone else?
For the ones who don't know me, John Cox, I'm an advisor for BNLU. One of the reasons, about college, I think we all kind of come from the household, well, I did. My parents and dad said, hey, you got to go to school. Didn't know exactly what that was going to be. However, I was athletically pretty good and was able to receive a scholarship, played here, graduated here. But for the most part, when you're talking about why did you come here? On my visit, I got sold the goods on, the environment and that kind of thing. So, so that's one of the reasons why I came here.
My name is Matthew Stewart, sophomore business finance major. And the reason I came to UNI in particular was for the experience, to be somewhere where it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me around. From the beginning, I knew coming into Iowa, it wasn't going to be a comfortable experience transitioning from a predominantly black area in St. Louis to coming to a rural area here in Cedar Falls. I just feel like this is going to prepare you for the real world. So that's why I decided to come here instead of going somewhere else. So.
My name is Corey, for everybody who don't know, I'm from Gary, Indiana. IUN shirt on right here. My decision to come to college, I actually was almost enlisted in the Army before I came, and I just really had a life shock. Not that I was supposed to be in college, my mother didn't give me the ultimatum to come. My homie had died, and it was just like, everybody in the hood was telling me, you got all these scholarships, go somewhere fine, never come back. So UNI gave me a lot of money, and I was like, why not, whatever, And what I've learned since I've been here, is that there's a lot of good men here. And education is important, it's just not for everybody. I don't want everybody to get sold on that dream that, yeah, college is for you. Nobody in my family has a college education right now. My cousin actually went to college for 5 years, but now he plays overseas. He never ended up graduating, so I don't know what that's like. And John Cox been trying to explain it to me the whole year I've been here, but I still, trying to roll with the punches and get it, but it's difficult, man, just coming from the background I came from. Like my man down there, I got a little colorful past, you know what I'm saying? They probably ain't as colorful as his, I don't know him like that, but I've been through some things, but yeah, this main thing, you know what I'm saying? There's some good black men up here right here. A lot of them has guided me. Tamarcus, my bad. Tamarcus, he ain't up here right now. He's actually at whatever school he's at right now. But you know what I'm saying? He helped me through my first semester. It was kind of tough adjusting. Like Matt said, I'm from a predominantly black city in Gary, and it was very hard adjusting. I just really didn't get used to it, but you know what I'm saying? It's all right now, and I'm enjoying my myself. You know, I like talking, so that's why my speech is going on for about 2-3 minutes right now. So yeah, all right.
All right. Thank you for all your answers. Just real quick, I know some of you guys announced who you guys were. Just can you guys go again? Your name, major, you know, if you did graduate and everything like that. So starting at the end.
My name is Elijah Say. I'm a psychology major. I'm a junior. Keokuk, Iowa.
My name's Shakur Young. I'm from Gary, Indiana. I'm a freshman. I don't have a major.
My name is Tristan Maxey, from Des Moines, senior, business management major with a coaching minor.
My name is Kenneth Woods, sophomore, textile and apparel major for Des Moines, Iowa.
My name is Matthew Stewart, sophomore business finance major from St. Louis, Missouri.
My name is Sherman Wise. I have a master's in communication branding from UNI.
So next question, we're going to get right into it. What type of woman do you prefer? So I mean, just that's a broad question. You know, take it as you want. But what type of woman do you prefer?
Come on, you young fellas, let me
Well, particularly, I like to prefer me. No, I'm just playing. But I like dark-skinned women, straight up. I like dark-skinned women. I like flex, did not clap. But, that's all. I like dark-skinned women. That's just it. I prefer all types of women, but if I had my choice, I'd pick a dark-skinned woman.
Can we hear from the middle table?
Well, I don't know. I like all types of women, you know. But if I'm gonna settle down and get cuffed, I need somebody that can be like. I need somebody that can be my best friend. And, you know,
Hold on,
we gotta have. No.
Hey, just let them.
When I be my best friend, like I can tell him anything, you know. If I'm gonna be cuffed, we gotta click. And then I don't know, I like black girls.
Alright. Anyone else want to take that?
Well, my first preference is always going to be black women. But I'm not going to say I discriminate like that, but I really haven't experimented with the white girls yet, to be honest, so I really haven't planned on it. I mean, for me, it's more of just what I'm used to be honest, and it's really about it. I mean, I got one right there. I mean, shout out to my girl right there, Kashana. Wait for her. She's shy though, but.
Stand up, Shonda. Can you stand up? We don't know who you are. Stand up.
But nah, I didn't think I was gonna actually be in a relationship this year, to be honest. So when she came along, it was kind of like damn, she is kind of a little bit different. So
He's trying to get points right now. So.
just a little bit, but yeah. My purpose in the girl, she gotta be like more of a friend first than anything. I can talk to her about anything.
Anyone else want to take that question, or are we good to go? Yeah? I'm just gonna move on. So basically, how do you feel about the black community on campus? And then the second part of that question, if you change something, what could you change about it? So yeah, how do you feel about the black community on campus, and then what could you change about it?
Two-part question. How I feel about it, I feel like the African American community on campus is not united. I feel like they lack culture and I lack personal identity. One thing that I have seen being a UNI student, the time I was here, that people generally acculturate to fit in with UNI expects people to fit in. One thing about me, when I attended UNI, I was an individual and I stayed an individual throughout my undergraduate and graduate years. So one thing I would like to see is that the black community gain their own identity, because professionalism has no color. And I think people seem that either they want to be hood or they want to adopt something else that is not of them. So I think that people need to have their own identity and appreciate that and make people accept it. What was the second part of the question?
And if you could change anything about the community, what would it be?
The only thing about it I would change is that we would have a larger community. You know, I don't think that since, you know, this is pretty much representative of the UNI black community right here. I mean, besides a few other people, but I think a larger community. When I attended I started in '06, but when I attended, it was totally different, you know, and I know that people that started before, I have family members that came here and were here in the 90s, and we would have had the black community throughout this whole auditorium. It would have been full, you know, so I think really it has, you know, I don't know if it's all dependent on scholarships or just people do not feel comfortable here because they can't, you know, be themselves, but I would really like to see, you know, it to be a lot more blacks here at UNI.
Hey Sherman, could you break it down from what you mean by culture? Everybody might not know what you mean.
Acculturate means you adopt other people's way of life to fit in. So, like I said, I am an individual, and I am a black male. But at the same time, I don't have to maybe possibly adapt to the white society totally, you know, to feel accepted. You know, I feel like we're all people, so I feel like I'm a part of them. But I think that, you know, as a black male, I have white friends. I'm still going to be a black male around my white friends, and that's where I want to be. You know, because I want to accept them as them, and I want them to accept me as me. So that's the definition of acculturation.
Me personally, I think like the black community here is really divided. I think there's a lot of pettiness things that go on. He say, she say, who's doing this and who's doing what, who's not doing what. Everybody's in everybody's business. One, because we're so small. At the same time, we're here at a small campus, so pretty much we're all what we already have. So everybody already is going to know each other. It's going to be like a small town, so right there and there, that's going to knock out the one problem. Everybody knows everything. Second of all, I think it's just attitudes, and I don't believe this university really feels is like strong upon their diversity matters campaign is what they advertise it really is, but that's really kind of how I feel, because I feel like since I came in 2009, there was a lot more black people here. I mean, my jump start was one of the most, I would say, from what everybody told me, over these last 4 years, my jump start class was the more cultured, because everybody came from more a little bit urban areas. But at the same time, none of them are really here, because whether they failed, dropped out, or transferred, it didn't go away for them. So I think, and for us to come through and get over this hump, I think it's going to be on people's attitudes and wants, and people that want to see change. And see, first it's going to start with us on the inside. We're going to have to all find a way just to get along and get through things, because at the end of the day, we're all here to get an education, but at the same time, we ain't going to all just make it one by one. We got to sit together.
All right, anyone else?
I mean, I agree a lot with both of these guys. I would say that when I see the black community, we all chose to come here, like personally, and we kind of knew the demographics. I mean, we can't come in and say we didn't, but I think a lot of it is that we need to celebrate each other a lot more, celebrate what we do have and what we can do right now, because we're only here for 4, 5, 6 years, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but if we can celebrate what we have now, I think it just makes more for creativity later, makes for more, I guess, overall happiness, but I feel like we should focus more on present things. So.
All right.
Here goes the facts. Facts is there's more black students, African Americans on this campus today than it was back in 2009. 2006, I was here back in 1986. There was 253 out of that 253. You're looking at around about 120 was African Americans, okay? Here goes the deal. The deal is, there's no sense of togetherness. You know, and I can only talk about back in my day, is the simple fact that we didn't all hang out or all like each other, but one thing we knew, we had to depend upon each other. And that's one thing that's probably the one big thing I don't see here. You know, I mean, everyone's gonna have their cliques. They had cliques back in my day, but you know what, when it comes down to it, you have to have some commonality of, you know, understanding why you're here. You know, on the simple fact that, you know, if you got someone slipping, that, you know, you have to help your brother or sister. Because at the end of the day, what are you here for? You know? You're here to get your degree. You're here to go springboard out and, you know, become, responsible, get a mortgage, and, you know, tell your wife you love her, and have some kids and pick a fence. You know? So, you know, when you're talking about the status of the black community here at UNI, we got to kind of get off a little bit of the, it's not about you have to be all chummy with each other, but you know what, we need to start respecting each other. I mean, how many times y'all in the classroom and you get disrespected all the time? And then on top of that, you got your brother and sister disrespecting you on top of that. You know what I know, one thing about you and I, it's hard as hell. Someone of color to get through here. Am I right or wrong? So, so there has to be some level of dependence upon each other. You know? And, you know, there's been many times I sure didn't want to, I wanted to go home, wanted to transfer. But, you know, the main thing of it is, there was a sense of, you know, when someone was down, you got to pick them up. You know, there was times that, you know, some cats or young lady you didn't care for, but, you know, if they were down, you wasn't going to try and push them down even more. You're trying to bring them up. You know, we need to talk up a little bit instead of always talking down. And so, you know, that's what I see. You know, we can talk about simulation and everything. You already know you're at a predominantly white institution. Okay? So, you know what I know, some of us come from backgrounds, that they're the majority. You know, I came from where it was mixed. So you had to deal with it. You know, if the biggest thing you're talking about change, I would like to see at least a little bit of, a little bit more scholarly. I mean, we got some scholars here. But yet we don't want to show our intelligence. You know? And so, you know, if there's one thing that probably changes, is the simple fact that, you know, you're here to get your degree and it's time to just, you know what, be who you are. Literally, be who you are. You know, because I've seen too many brothers and sisters come and go. I've been associated with this university since 1986. I've seen an army of African Americans for some odd reason, a catch-22, and all these things could be preventable. So, you know, when you're looking at the black community, you know, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. You know, from that standpoint. So, I think I answered the two-part. You got three parts?
I'm gonna leave it to be. Anyone else want to take a shot at that? If not, we can move on. All right. On a less serious matter, we kind of want to get into, do you think hip-hop music influences the young black male's perspective on women? Do you believe that hip-hop music influences the young black male's perspective on women?
I don't want to switch it up. I don't want to throw us off, but I would like somebody out there to answer that question first. Can we get one person out there to answer that?
I mean, as far as me,
somebody wants to answer that? Does anybody want to answer? Come on.
on the mic.
She don't need no microphone. Just go on and say it.
I think that everything starts in the household. So if you was brought up to be a follower, you're going to be a follower, and vice versa.
All right.
What's the question?
Do you think hip-hop music influences the young black male's perspective on women?
Nah, black women influence my, what's the word?
you think hip hop music influences the young black male's perspective?
Definitely.
Yes.
Nah, black woman, hey man, I'ma just keep it G. Girls was busting before I heard me and 2 Chainz. Before that, that's just all I know. Before I heard 2 Chainz, whoever, Tiger, whatever, these chicks was doing all this before I heard all this music. That's just straight G. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they heard the song and they thought of that, but hey, I just know it from experience. I done seen girls, never mind, but yeah, man. Black women influences my decision. They told me to keep it straight 100, so I did.
Well, I agree with what she said. I think that people that are followers, you know, I like music. I mean, I like all type of music. I definitely love hip hop, but I'm not a follower, so it can't influence me because I'm not gonna, you know, want to go out and sell drugs. I'm not gonna want to go out and have, you know, do all these things that they're saying, quote unquote, in these lyrics. But I definitely think it influences people's perception on life. I mean, because if you're a follower, you know, you see somebody you look up to, whether it's Tiger, 2 Chainz, Jay-Z, whoever it may be, you look at these people, you look at the facade, and you want to be like that because you're a follower, you know, where you don't, instead of just taking bits and pieces and applying this to your life, you want to adopt everything, you know, the whole style and everything. So I agree if you have the perception or the ideal or the lifestyle of a follower, you're going to be influenced by those lyrics.
Anyone else?
Hey, can I add to what he said? No, he's actually right. If you have to look at this, music today and rappers and stuff like that, if they weren't getting paid, would they say these things that they say? If it didn't sell, would they say that? Would they, talk about women that way? Would they talk about drugs or whatever, or alcohol, their drinks and stuff like that? Would they say that? And they wouldn't. They really wouldn't. They're just trying to sell. They're trying to make $1. Some people, some rappers are lyricists, but others are not.
Not even having to do no lyrics. Like I said, I seen that stuff before I heard a rap song. I know I ain't the only male that had seen that before I heard a rap song, you know what I'm saying? And I know some of them rappers probably out there telling the truth. Man, these girls tricking, man. Don't be acting like they not. Ain't nobody fake selling drugs, you know what I'm saying? My uncle and them came up on that, yeah. That's just straight up, you know what I'm saying? If he was a rapper, he'd be telling you 100% truth. That stuff that Jeezy probably fraud about, he'd be 100 about it. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff was happening before that. That's just what it is, G.
There's definitely different perspectives on that question. Anyone else want to take that?
Yeah. I fully agree with what Jemiah said because if you didn't know, I grew up in a house where my dad's a pastor, so he really tried to shelter me away from all the hip-hop stuff, especially when I was growing up in California. And Tupac was the high rev, the rapper. He wanted me to stay away from that until I had gone to my babysitter's house and I experienced MTV and BET hip-hop videos for the first time. And ever since then, I was hooked. But my father, luckily, I had a male figure in my life, and my parents taught me how to treat a woman and talk to a woman and give her the most respect and not have that perspective on women. But at the same time, there's always these young kids, especially nowadays, that are really influenced by hip-hop music. Like, when you think about it, everybody wants to pop a Molly right now. That's a hot thing to do. You'll see little kids going around in the street talking about, I'm about to pop this Molly, or she on a Molly, or tell a girl to bust it open for them. But I think it does start at the household.
Anyone else? If not, we move on. All right. While we're on the topic of mothers, next question: do you think single-parent mother homes affect a black male's outlook? And I mean, this could be, if you're from a single mother home, if you know somebody, whatever.
Well, myself personally, being raised by a single mother and my sister and my grandma, I was raised mostly by women, and I honestly do think that it did change my outlook on life as a whole and on women as a gender. Had I been raised by my father, I would have probably looked at women as just objects instead of for what they are as beautiful queens of this earth. But I mean, and that's not even just to get the ahs. That's for real though, because that's what Mama taught me from jump, is that every woman has value. So that's why I treat every woman with that respect. I mean, and she taught me a lot of things about, you know, the way I'm supposed to act, the way I'm supposed to carry myself. I mean, my dad, he was in my life, but he wasn't, you know, as a part of it as I would like him to have been. And I had other male role models, but my mom is the one that basically made who you see today. So.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, real quick. Do you think single-parent mother homes affect a black male's outlook?
I was raised by a single parent, my mom. I don't think it really changed it, but being raised by her, it just, I don't know, made me respect women more because I seen her go through the divorce with my mom when I was young and see how she was really hurt and all that. So it just made me realize that you got to respect her when you get older because females are sensitive.
I'm speaking from a two-parent home. I was raised by both my mother and my father. And I would say that I feel like I still have the same amount of respect for women. Not saying that they lack it or anything or that they have more, but I'm saying that they also taught me the same values. And I would say it does affect an outlook, not like bad or better, but it does. It's an effect, regardless, because one is missing. You can't deny that fact. And if you don't have a male figure and you're a male, it's kind of, I feel like it's also difficult to role model yourself unless you have someone who is a mentor in your life. I mean, my father grew up without a father, and he pretty much promised himself that he would never do that to me. And he had, and he based a lot of things that he does for me because he didn't have it. And he wants me to have way more, double, triple, whatever he didn't have. And so I'd say that it has a huge effect. It could make ones more prone to also leave their wives when they get older, or it could be one to strengthen their own strength, like with their relationships in the future. So, yeah.
I think that's a very general question because I think every situation is different. I mean, I really idolize or admire this young man. Said he grew up in a single-parent home and he came to college right away. That wasn't the lifestyle I chose. I grew up in a single-parent home, but when I was younger, I saw my mom struggling, so I was like, man, me being, not knowing the skill set I had, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this money, But, and I decided to take another route than other people did, So I admire, growing up in a single-parent home and making other decisions. So I think everybody's situation is different. So you can't just attribute growing up in a single-parent home to doing illegal things or, so we're two people right here that had, different backgrounds. We still came from single-parent homes but made two different choices. So it's just another way that you can look at it and say, hey, just because people were raised this way, everybody's not going to turn out the same way.
Anyone else?
Go ahead, John. How about you?
It's more about access, choices, access. A lot of times, with single-parent homes, they just don't have the access to be able to provide for their son or daughter. My wife, she had 2 children, so I have 2 stepchildren, and I came into their lives around about at 9 and 11, and it was just a culture shock to them, because at that time they didn't have access to be able to come on a college and just hang out, to get exposed to you as college students. You just don't have that exposure, that access. And my wife, she was busting her tail when she was a single mother, So, you're a little bit right, every situation is a little bit different. But I'm not trying to flip the question, but it really talks about, we as men, what are you going to do? We're talking about respecting women and everything. The real deal is the simple fact that, it's about responsibility and standing up for your responsibilities, especially when it involves children. That's one thing that, we had a golden rule in our house, that, their biological father, my stepchildren's biological father, we would not say anything negative about them. Nothing. You know, they would have to grow up and realize it for themselves. You know, we try, you know, myself, I try to do everything I could to assist that. But yet, there was still always a longing and a yearning for their biological father, which I understood that. So, you know, yes, it does make a difference, but it's also situational. It's also, you know, that access. It's also the simple fact that it's choice. So.
Well, me personally, I agree with everybody that's been saying. But at the same time, I think there is some things that a man should teach their son while they're in the household with them. I mean, it's always good for a woman to be able to raise a strong young man, but I think me as a man, there are some things that I would like to tell. I'd like my son to hear things from me rather than hear from his mother, because I think he could just, I don't know, me hearing things from my dad compared to my mom, this might be a little bit different, because I always respect my mom, what she says, and I always take into account, but hearing what a man's supposed to do for the family from another man, it impacts me a little bit more. That's just how I feel about it.
All right. Those are all great answers. I really felt a lot of those answers, really, honestly. Next question we're going to ask, how do you feel about, well, actually, what are some negative experiences you've had on campus, and how would you change or prevent them? Or let's word it differently. So let's say you had a negative experience here, and if you could go back and redo what happened there, how would you do that? How would that play out in your favor?
Somebody answer that first.
This event, but last year.
Oh.
It's a lot better this year. 'Cause last year, everybody was just attacking one another.
Better conversations, better answers, that's for sure.
Anybody else out there?
Actual answers.
No one has had a bad experience on campus? Okay.
CC?
Well, last semester I was an RA, and there was a lot of stuff happening in Dancing Hall about some stuff, targeting towards people, and I guess I feel like I wanted it more to be done, but if I could go back and change it, I wouldn't have resigned from my position because I felt like I gave the people who did that to me the benefit of me resigning from the position.
Yeah, one.
Yeah, I would say a good 98% of my negative experiences on this campus have been racially motivated, induced, inclined, specific from my people. So to change that, you can hear all day if I start discussing that.
Can we get a specific instance?
Specific?
Yes.
Well, I've been here 2 years now, and I've been racially profiled by the police, UNI police 4 times, which is more than what I've been. I'm from the South, so that's more than what I've been. My 25 years on this planet, has been since I've been 2 years here at Cedar Falls by campus police.
Who else falls in that category? Being profiled.
Ain't nothing racial happened to me, but when I first came here, you know, we touched on this a little bit, but a couple of people in the black community had their nose up at me, but that was it. That was the problem. I ain't really care for it, but if I had to change it, I wouldn't even have tried to say nothing. I tried to be nice. I'm not a nice person. I tried to speak to everybody, you know, with big teeth and make a couple of jokes, but, you know what I'm saying, next time I gotta know you can't make friends with everybody, so, you know, just like my uncle said, never mind, I can't say that. I told John about it, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't speak to people. If I was messing with you, I'm messing with you. If I'm not, forget you, bro. You ain't from where I'm from.
I mean, just like CC, I was once an RA. Like, I know some of the jumps I can remember me were introducing myself. But I was once an RA, and I got into a situation with a fellow RA, and I ended up having to quit my job in order to make sure that I wasn't expelled from campus for some reason or another, based off a bad choice of words that I used. And even though, you know, I admitted to it, you know, I still had to take the brunt of the punishment. even though, you know, I was remorseful for that. And I don't know, if I had to go back and do it all over again, honestly, I would just not have you know, applied to be an RA, because I just felt like from jump, they didn't want me to be in the building. They didn't want me to be an RA. They just, you know, were doing it because they had to fit a quota. So.
My bad experience actually happened at a multicultural event. Forgot the setting was, but it was like about a year ago. I don't live on campus, so I really haven't had any bad problems in the halls. But anyways, I was having a conversation with a faculty member, and he asked me where I was from and my major and all that, and of course, blase. And then he got to the point, well, oh yeah, well, you play sport here? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, you play the sports here? I'm like, nah, I'm just here for academics. And that was one thing they tried to teach us in Jumpstart, was that you might get profiled to be a black athlete, since you're a multicultural student, especially black, and black males here usually play football, and you're gonna get stereotyped as an athlete. So that just struck a chord with me, and I was like, well, yeah, kind of woke me up, because the rest of my roommates, they were athletes, but I wasn't, and it just affected me like, damn, you a faculty member of color, but you still gonna look at me like that? But I just shook it off, and if I go back and do it over again, I mean, I really can't do that much about it.
You can go ahead.
I have a question for Matt and Cece. And how do y'all feel like y'all quit your RA being the only minorities? Because like the people that came from Jumpstart, who are they gonna look up to? Because I know like when I lived in my building, I had a couple of blacks I could go to about issues that were happening on my forum. So how do you feel like now there's no kids that can come up talk to you about that kind of stuff because you're not in the RA position to do that anymore?
Well, I say that, you know, I regret resigning from my position, but I still had a relationship with my girls on my floor. You know, if they need somebody to talk to, they can still come talk to me. But I mean, it's a decision I made on my own. So I mean, we have a lot of minorities here, and it's even minority art that's going to be RA next year. So I mean, it doesn't exclude me from them being able to come talk to me for these stuff. So definitely that.
I mean, honestly, I was never given the opportunity to even know the people that was in my hall that were of my color, or the ones that weren't of my color, because they got rid of me as fast as they could. I mean, to be honest with you, like as soon as it took them like 2 days to be like, Matt, like you can either quit or be fired. I was like, wow, like that's it. So you know, I quit. I mean, and it made me feel a little bit powerless though, you know, because I was just like, you know, why? You know, am I not able to keep my job? And, you know, this is an issue between me and another RA. Why? And I'm being remorseful. It's not like I was in the office, you know, just being like, oh, no, she lied on me. Like, I was genuinely remorseful. And to be honest with y'all, I was crying in my boss's office. I mean, and it just made me feel like, why do I have to go through this as a black man? And if something similar goes on in another hall, there's nothing that happens. You know, that happens to the person that perpetrated. You know, that's just the way it made me feel.
And that's getting to the real, you know, I think what you mentioned about Matt, that's the real issue. You know, Cece, you talked about your situation. You know, the real situation, if it was flipped, what would have been the reaction? Okay, it wouldn't have been a reaction. You know, if it was flipped, you know, each and every one of y'all would have been, you know, rolled up, and next thing you know, they're telling you you can't stay in the dorms next semester. You know, and that's part of the problem. That's one reason why when I was speaking about a little bit earlier, it's about, you know, there's times when you have to be able to come together, because I'm hearing all these isolated incidents, and just about everyone can probably talk about their isolated incidents. But who knows? You know, I mean, you know, you pay tuition regardless if you got some scholarship money. Everyone here, just about everyone here is taking out loans. You pay tuition just like everybody else. But you don't walk around here like you do. And it's time, it really is time to, when certain situations, when all you're looking for is a little bit of fairness. You're not trying to get over on anybody. It's just a little bit of fairness. And it just saddens me, because, I'm a little bit familiar with some of these situations. And you know what? Their remedy from an administrator, their remedy of solution is totally warped. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, CC, about regretting, but, they circled around you, made you feel like there was no other solution. Same as Matt. There was no other solution. And see, that's the reason why when we're talking about the state of the black community, that's when you guys got to get together. That's when, when we were talking about, I'm going to say all the organizations who's in the exec team. That's when, that's when y'all get mad and you let people know this is not fair, collectively. Because you pay tuition. And I've been, like I said, I've been associated with this 1986. There's too many times they make you like you're the villain, like you did something wrong, what you said was wrong. And that's not really the case. You're willing to accept your responsibility, but yet on the other hand, when it comes to a little bit of fairness is not there. So, I just had to say that.
All right. Everyone said their piece? Everyone good? All right. To leave on a lighter note, this is going to be our last question for the panel, and then after that we can take a couple questions, about 2 or 3 from the audience. So last question. How do types of music among black men differ between then and now? So basically kind of old versus new school. Go ahead, I know I got some answers.
Well, I'm not that old, but listening to older music, I feel like the music had more meaning to it. And nowadays, the music I listen to, like hip hop, it's all about the same stuff, like weed, sex, strippers, all that. And there's really nothing. Everybody's saying the same stuff. So that's about it.
Honestly, I think the music back then, it was the way they said things. They're not so blunt with it the way they are today. Like back in the day, they still did talk about sex and drugs and money, but they talked about it a different way. It wasn't so just out there like we say today. Like they would say, I'm trying to think of something. But back in the day, they wouldn't say bitches and hoes and, excuse my language, but pussy and ass like that. They wouldn't say nothing vulgar like that. But at the same time, it would kind of have the same meaning. But yeah, I think today's the music is a little bit more watered down. It's all about money now, I think. So whatever's hot, they're gonna say it to get the money.
The man want to ask real quick. What's up?
He's right. Corporations run things now. So basically, you have to find, when you look for artists and stuff like that, if they don't control creative, which is their imagination, what they say and stuff like that, if they don't control that, they're only looking for the dollar. Period. And there's some artists, see, if the artist really cares about their message or their lyrics or anything, they'll really they'll control, they'll run their own label and stuff like that, trust me. That's why you see, like, the people that have stayed, far along, they rapped for that many years, they stayed in the business, they control things themselves, not by other people. So,
I agree. The difference I see now from when I started listening to music is that there's no substance. Now what they're going to tell you, and I want you to go back, when you go back and listen to the music, they're telling you, I got money, I'm spending your money, I'm throwing it in your face, you're not shit, I'm better than you, and that's just it. But I helped you get there. So I mean, when I say that, I'm saying pretty much hip hop. You got some other people that are more, a lot more humble, that are appreciative of what, who put them there. But mainstream, hey, I got money from you. So in a way, it's just another way to seem like they're just pimping us. And we just allow it.
All right, I'm ready for Corey to drop some knowledge on us. Go ahead.
I don't think I think people, I'm generally talking about hip hop. I think people just living in this 90s era where you gotta get this reasonable doubt and this Tupacalypse now and this NWA, and it's still guys giving you that same knowledge. It might not be in the same quantity as that back then, but it's still guys giving you the same knowledge. Kendrick's new album, he talked about how many problems he faced growing up in a neighborhood like Compton. You know what I'm saying? My favorite rapper is Wale. Wale talks about all types of social issues. His first album, he had a song called Shades, attacking light skin and dark skin in the black community. Just all types of stuff.
What direction is Wale going in now?
What direction is Wale going in now? And the same, what you mean? The same direction. Man, hey, just go cop flooring and you can see the same stuff that he showed on Attention Deficit. And that's real. That's no unbiased opinion. I mean, yeah, I gotta talk about the money. If you come from some of these backgrounds, I know what kind of background I talk about. You give me some money, I'm gonna flaunt it and tell you I came from the slums. Yeah, I got $1 million. I'm gonna throw it in y'all face to everybody who said I could never get $1 million. I'm gonna go to Miss McBrae's house and tell her I made this song just for you, but you said I wasn't gonna graduate.
And you're still getting pimped.
I don't get pimped.
I don't get pimped.
Hey.
That's the difference, man, is if you sit there and allow people sit there and adopt this. They sit there and follow people that are pimping them saying I'm better than you. I'm not gonna just allow this. You know, I listen to it for enjoyment. I don't listen to it that I embrace it, that it becomes my life. That's the problem. It becomes people's lifestyle.
The man that gave you $1 million, do you own him or does he own you?
I got $1 million.
But who's paying you?
Hey, I don't care.
The artists that survive, it's not the other way around. It doesn't work like that. If you think the world works like that, you're thinking very small-minded, very, very small-minded.
Hey, look, if I got $1 million, I wouldn't care, G. I'm up here with some all-black forces I bought in July 2011 with my homeboy hoodie and some pants I stole from Walmart. If I get $1 million, boy, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't care who gave it to me. I'm being pimped. Life is a game of pimps and hoes. You being pimped all the time, whether you think you got you a college education and went here and worked there and worked there, you still got a boss.
Let me tell you something.
That's what's that.
Hold on. Let me tell you something real quick. Even though you get $1 million, that doesn't mean you can keep $1 million.
Yeah, that's what I work on. If I got $1 million,
the precursor to that is that my degree does not make who I am. I don't care about no piece of paper. I don't care about attending you and I.
Right.
That doesn't make me. My character makes who I am. Right. I'm not gonna allow $1 million. I've been around a lot of people that's seen a lot of money and have nothing to show for it today. So you can miss me with I done made $1 million. Yes, I can sell myself out, make $1 million, but have nothing to show for it 2 years later. That's the point. That's the point. I'm not saying that there's a game in life you have to play. Yes, I'm going to have a boss. Yes, I'm going to do this. But if you don't have somewhere that you have some ground that I'm going to stand on, and education of understanding behind that, man, with everything you're working for is going to be voided out.
And on top of that, when you're looking at, when you're looking at people in the entertainment business, to be quite honest, they're at a worse state than you are right now, because their style, they gotta keep it coming in. They have to have so much money per month, because it's going just as much as is going out. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have the ones that the Jay-Z's and I mean, the Dr. Dre's and all that, that's full of, they're full of money. But that rapper that came out with a song or two, look at their lives now.
It's 5 or 10 of them.
Yeah.
It's 300 million of them.
And speaking of a little bit of old music, I just want to kind of take a different spin. Substance, like back in, I guess back in the day and even now, even when I was, in the college years, every hip hop or whatever, always stealing someone else's beat. You know, so it's always some old beat that happened back, you know, I was here in the 80s and 90s, you know, well, they were still beats back in the 70s and 60s, the beat of it. So, you know, you look at some of that music now, when you look at it, some of y'all be in my office and I'll be listening to some of the music, I'm hearing the old beat and yeah, I'm bouncing my head. You know, like I said, it takes me around about, 50 times to understand the lyrics. From that standpoint. But for the most part, you know, that's the whole thing about, you know, when you're looking at old school and you're looking at new school, it's still the same old game. It's still the same old game, and you know, when you talk about, you know, artists being real, you know, it's about the artists understanding money.
I got one more thing to say. And when I said that, I don't want anybody to take anything negative away from this. I know I'm 10 years his senior, so what I'm saying that, and I'm a cat, I get money. So I don't play when it comes to that, but at the same time, I want our people to be educated. Whether it's being able to spend it wisely, being able to earn it respectfully, I want us to know the proper steps of it. I mean, because things are very, you know, we can win the lottery, we can get, drafted, but after that, you know, I just watched a documentary the other day on NBA players that have made $150 million and are dead broke. So the whole point of it is this substance of just saying, okay, I'm going to have to stand for something, and I'm going to have to know and be educated enough to be able to make this long term. I'm not living for here today. You know, I have a retirement plan. My kids got to go to school. My kids got to eat. So that's the, and my perspective is definitely different than when I was at 20 years old as well.
We definitely saw that.
My final point on this topic is that, you know, we gotta support the message. I mean, what Corey was talking about, what Sherman was talking about with the substance of things, you know, if we only supporting the songs that's talking about the pussy and the ass and the bitches and the hoes, then of course that's what they're gonna put out for us. I mean, back in the day when they had Marvin out singing "What's Going On," that song was popular because black people were supporting the message. Black people even in Tupac, when he had changes and Brenda's Got a Baby, he was popular because we were supporting the message. And that's all I gotta say, especially as a poet, is that y'all gotta support the message. If that's what y'all wanna hear, if y'all want more positivity out your hip hop, then ask for that from y'all artists. If not, then that's what they're gonna keep putting out.
Y'all said peace. Everyone's good. All right, I respect both sides of that. You really saw like the difference between old school and new school right here, and it was nice. I got to learn a little bit. So that's gonna be y'all the questions I have for the panel. If you have a question, just file up like 2 or 3 people, and then you just ask questions right there.